ama ya watu wa Trans Nzoia.
Tukirejea hapa jijini, kamati ya bunge kuhusu bajeti inamhoji Waziri wa Hazina ya Kitaifa John Mbadi kuhusu mswada wa ugavi wa mapato wa mwaka wa 2025. Hebu tuelekee huko tusikilize yanayojiri.
631 billion. Now if you compare that to 2,541,000,000, then that is a reduction of 90 billion. So after supplementary 1, the supplementary 2 is reducing revenue further, down by 9 billion shillings. So this less than expected growth is likely to affect the ordinary revenue projections for even 2025-2026, and I explained earlier, Chair, that we have already revised the revenue projection for 25-26 downwards by 183 billion. This has necessitated the National Treasury to revise the ordinary revenue projections for financial year 25-26 by a shortfall of 183.8 billion from 3,018.8 billion initially projected in the budget review outlook paper of 2024, and even the budget policy statement, to the projection that is found under Division of Revenue Bill and budget policy statement for 2025 of 2,835 billion. So it should be noted that the projected ordinary revenue of 2,835 is informed by the lower baseline of 2,541.8 billion. So what we have done is to look at this baseline, what we are likely to collect at the end of this year, and adjust it upwards by a percentage of about 11.5%. This percentage is a percentage that is informed by looking at the historical growth of revenue, and like the last 2 years, revenue has grown by about 11%. So that is the percentage that we have applied here. So I think that is it, and it is important to note that over the period 2016-17 to 2023-24, actual ordinary revenue has always been below target, except for 2021-2022, and as such, the financial year 2025-2026 may experience such shortfall. But we hope that these projections are more realistic, and therefore we are likely to hit the target. And there are also a lot of reforms that which have taken place at the Kenya Revenue Authority, and we hope now the performance of Kenya Revenue Authority will be to the expectation. Number 2 is the need to finance mandatory expenditure under Article 203(1) of the Constitution. We are all familiar with Article 203 of the Constitution, which talks about how to allocate revenue or nationally raised revenue. One of the things that you have to look at is national interests, and those national interests are expounded there under Article 203(1)(a). That will take about 101 billion. Public debt is given prominence under Article 203(1)(b). That will take, that is debt repayment together with interest payment, 1.6 trillion. Pensions, constitutional services, and other obligations, that is the other CFS, takes 239. There is other national obligations of 518. Emergencies will be allocated 5 billion. Equalization fund, as I mentioned above, is 10.6 trillion, which again is a component of those two, the allocation for the year and the arrears. Total mandatory expenditure, about 2,481,000,000. You can see we have no leg room at all. So the balance that we should have shared is only 353 billion. Out of that, we are proposing to give counties 417 billion in total. That 417, 405 is shareable revenue. 2 billion will be an unconditional grant, or 2.9 billion, and then 9.9 billion will be conditional additional allocations from national government share of revenue, which then will add to other donor-funded support or development partner support in terms of conditional allocations. This fiscal deficit in financing other major government functions has always occasioned additional borrowing, which continues to distort the fiscal framework set out in the annual budget policy statement and further undermining government fiscal consolidation plan. So over the years, after taking into account all the mandatory expenditures contemplated under Article 203(1) of the Constitution, there has always been minimal and sometimes, as shown above, no resources left to finance other national government obligations such as defense, roads, energy, etc. The third issue is financing constraints due to limited access to finance in the domestic and international financial markets. Kenya's borrowing fell short of the targeted access for both domestic and foreign financing respectively over the years. The same trend has also been recorded in the first half of the financial year 2024-2025. Mr. Chairman, accessing finances has become a challenge. Actually, we need to start living with the reality that we may not be accessing much finances from outside. We must start looking inwards. And so that is why we have to prudently use and prudently allocate the little resources that we have. Number 4 is the national government continues to solely bear shortfalls in revenue in any given financial year. This, I think, is a matter that we all know, and you are even better placed to appreciate, Mr. Chair, that over the years, counties have always received full allocation of equitable share of revenue despite shortfalls in performance of ordinary revenue. As a matter of fact, counties have resisted even budget revisions. Any time you give them money, the money you give them, even if there are challenges like we had last year with Gen Zs, you ask the county governments also to take a haircut, they will never accept. So we must be very cautious and only be able to divide to counties what we can comfortably release to the counties. The national government, ministries, departments and agencies therefore have continued to bear the full burden of revenue shortfall through budget cuts. In cases where there is delay in disbursement of revenue during the financial year, the arrears have always been disbursed in subsequent financial year. I don't know whether this figure is there. We have indicated that we give them, we provide a table. I think we can provide this table later. Due to underperformance of revenue, for example, in financial year 2023-24, the National Treasury was not able to transfer 30.8 billion to counties, being the equitable share allocation for June 2024, implying that the total budgeted equitable share of 2024-25 amounting 418.3 billion included the June 2024 balances carried forward. Further, as at the end of this first quarter of this financial year, disbursement to counties was behind schedule, or was behind by 63.9. So note that this increased financial commitment to county government shall be funded from a lower projected ordinary revenue of 2,541,000,000 for the financial year 2024-2025, further constraining the fiscal space in the medium term, including 2025-2024. As I conclude, the other last issue, Chair, that I want to mention in forming our decision to recommend this division of revenue is that there is high cost of public debt service. This is largely due to a relatively stable but still very high exchange rate to the dollar, as well as high interest rates in the domestic markets. Public debt service in financial year 25-26 will account for 52% of ordinary revenue, which is higher than the average of 41% enjoyed over the year, over the period from 2016-2017 to 2024-2025. Mr. Chairman, I submit.
Thank you very much, Waziri, for that brief and explicit presentation. I know that members will have raised diverse questions touching on the Division of Revenue Bill 2025 and any other area that is of interest to members of Parliament. So at this juncture, I don't want to stay on the microphone. I want to give members to get ready to ask Waziri questions. But before the members come on board, Waziri, you have just said from your presentation that the government is having difficulties accessing borrowing. Could you just clarify why this is happening? Is it happening for other economies also, like Tanzania, our neighbors, or it's just a problem that is restricted to our economy only? Then the other question that I wanted to raise with you, Waziri, is members are concerned that anytime there's supplementary estimates on the floor of the House, the sector that suffers most is development expenditure. And this has been consistently happening. We have seen this happening consistently, and we are concerned that this is really affecting the performance of the economy. We want you to explain to us some of the reproductive areas of the economy that your budgets are investing resources in. From the PBO presentation to us, we have seen that critical sectors of the economy, such as manufacturing, construction, and housing, have underperformed in the last 1 year, despite investments in those sectors. For example, the housing sector has underperformed substantially. So we are interested in understanding what is happening and why these sectors are not performing, despite being some of the sectors that better bottom-up economic approach better is hinged on those sectors. Why are they not performing? Thank you, Waziri. Now I want to leave the floor to my members of this committee to be able to raise questions. We are going to have 2 sessions. We are going to have the first 6 members asking, and the minister will respond, and then thereafter we'll have the second set of questions. Let me start with the member for Quisero, Honorable Aseka.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, CS, for the elaborate presentation. Mine goes to CS. KRA is well funded. KRA is well resourced in terms of human capacity. We find it difficult to understand why it's not able to meet its revenue target. To you, CS, do you have any strategies that you're putting in place to ensure that KRA meets its revenue targets and without extra taxes? 2, and the last one, looking at your balance sheet, the national government is left with about 64.552. You've said that you've given counties at 25.79 of the revenues. Why don't you reduce it to 16 so that we allow also national government to have enough resources also? Thank you.
Thank you. The second question is by Honorable David Ochieng, MP for Ugenya.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, CS. We've been used to probably 8 pages. I like the way you simplified this today, because this is quite practical, CS, in terms of division revenue. You didn't need so much story, and I'm up with this 1 page. I've got a couple of questions, Chair, if you allow me. The first one is that you are getting into some topic here that keeps running, which I would like you to get away from. The issue of every CS and PS talking about counties not bearing the burden of national government. The national government has a very big policy space that they can use to maneuver to get more money. Counties don't have. The only thing they have is what you give them. So I would request you, CS, as you settle in, leave the county monies alone. Because this idea that, you have to keep telling us that, counties go down because, that these things. If there's a way in which you could leave the county monies that we allocate to them the way it is without touching it, I would really be happy. Number 2, this committee has been given data over the last 3-4 years about the need to have the single treasury account as a way of ensuring that, first of all, you have a bird's view of how much does government have. And it's been said that it's a way of ensuring that you don't have a lot of domestic debt, and just ensuring that money is not lying somewhere in government and someone is borrowing. How do you intend, or how soon do you intend to implement? Because even as recent as when Parliament passed the public debt strategy, there was actually even a warning that if the minister cannot implement this strategy, then all these you're talking about will not come to pass. How soon do you intend to implement the single treasury account? Number 3, CS, it's about procurement. The Kenyan government is the one that procures the most. But in the region, it procures the most at the highest prices ever. If you compare the prices which for example, we procure roads, or just basic items like these pens, Kenyan government procures at the highest. What is the plan, your plan as new CS, to ensure that because this is under your remit, you discipline procurement to ensure that we are getting value, because it saves money. From what I hear from you is that your issue is where do you get money, or how do you save money? How do you intend to discipline procurement to ensure that government is not spending money on things they didn't need to spend on? But 3 is something that I had you raise on the floor, and now you're on the other side. This every year finance bill, it creates insecurity, it creates unpredictability, it creates tension among investors coming in here. And you talked about this severally, CS. Do you intend to implement a multi-year finance bill? Because it's part of also raising resources and ensuring that you're able to project well. And finally, if you reduce the projections that you propose, and you've had issues with KRA over the years, it's going to cause lethargy. People go back to where they were. Because one of the biggest issues we're dealing with at KRA is incest, in terms of, the staff there raising money for themselves and not for the public. So if you made a projection this year or last year, and then you say you're going to reduce it, how does that work with the reforms that you intend to institute at KRA? And finally, Chair, I have a feeling that we are overplaying COVID and we are overplaying June 25th. Everyone wants to blame June 25th. I believe, CS, you should also not get into that trap of June 25th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Na mtazamaji, ni kikao kinachoendelea hapo cha kamati ya bajeti katika bunge ambayo inaendelea kumhoji waziri wa fedha John Mbadi kuhusiana na mswada wa ugavi wa mapato kati ya serikali kuu na serikali za kaunti. Ndio haswa mdahalo ambao ulikuwa unaendelea kuhusiana na huo ugavi kati ya serikali kuu na serikali za kaunti. Lakini kwa sasa nataka turejee katika jopo la kuwahoji wale wanaonuia kuwa makamishna wa IEBC hivi sasa.